A Rubik's Cube has over 43 quintillion possible combinations. But really, there are only a handful of methods that you would use to solve it. The people who are great at Rubik's Cubes don't just memorize a single solution, they master multiple methods to solve it. And really, that's exactly where we are with AI right now. Let me explain. The thinking revolution. I truly believe we are at the precipice of the third major revolution here in the United States. The first revolution was the Industrial Revolution, where we took muscle and we translated it to machines. Physical labor was automated. Next, we had the Information Revolution. Okay, we took sets of rules and translated them into code. Data processing, thus, was automated. Simple and easy, right? Now, we are at the precipice of the thinking revolution, where the doing, we're going to be handing that off to AI. Execution is going to be automated in this generation of AI. Now, each time in these revolutions, the valuable skill was just shifted upward. And we're in the third shift right now. Okay? Because I truly believe the doing isn't the work anymore. The thinking is the work that we are going to be doing in the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 10 years. But what does thinking actually mean in practice? That's what this video is going to be about. The old method versus the new reality. So, the old method of problem solving is that you would have a problem, you would research it, you'd find a solution, and then you would implement that solution, right? Simple, easy. And the value that came from this methodology was actually having the answer, using this process to get to the answer. Now, where does expertise come into play? Expertise is really the accumulation of multiple solutions. So you can get to the answer and you can get to it faster because of your experience, because of your expertise. Okay? The person who knew the most was the most valuable person. Okay? And that person could, right or wrong, coast on what they knew. Unfortunately, though, times have changed and there's a new reality setting. AI can now generate solutions faster than you can Google them in many cases. And really, if the answer is just a prompt away, where does your value lie? So the shift we have to make is how we are arriving at the solutions. Okay? That's what's going to be our differentiator. How we are solving the problem, not actually solving the problem. Earlier, I mentioned the Rubik's Cube. Okay? AI has access to all 43 quintillion combinations of the Rubik's Cube. But it's up to you and I to choose the right method. That's the skill that we need to make sure that we are developing in this age of AI. How you solve the problem is now more important than actually solving the problem. The 201 gap, why most people get stuck with AI. So I've mentioned before in previous videos that Microsoft rolled out Copilot across their own enterprise, and the adoption stalled at about 20%. Okay? Even their own CEO admitted that the integrations didn't work well. Okay? That's not because the tools were bad. There's really just a gap in teaching. There's a gap. Nobody is teaching with any of these AI tools. Okay? So really you fall into one of three categories. You're an AI 101 person. You're just doing the prompting basics. Okay? Plenty of content out there. You can go find that. AI 301 You have people who are sitting there building agents, coding workflows. And again, there's plenty of content out there to go and learn about those things. But the gap, the people who are in the middle of that 101 and that 301, it's the AI 201. People who need the meta skills to actually make AI useful. And really, there's not a lot of content out there right now about the AI 201 people. Now, I want to give credit to Nate B. Jones for calling out the 201 gap. I've watched one of his videos, and he's exactly right. There's a huge gap there in the middle that we need to be working on filling for ourselves, our friends, our family, our coworkers, our businesses. Now, I believe that there are 6 skills that help to close it, that they're not just prompting skills. Okay. And I'm going to make another video about how I believe prompt engineering is dead, but that's another video. Right now, here are 6 skills that aren't prompt engineering skills that will help you. Okay. Number 1, context assembly. Knowing what information AI needs before you ask AI. Okay. A lot of times I think about this and I say to people, you need to think about being complete. You don't need to be organized with your information. You just need to make sure you give it all the information that you have. Quality judgment, recognizing when the output is good enough versus this isn't quite what I'm looking for, it needs another pass. Task decomposition, learning to take problems and break them down so that AI can actually help you solve those individual pieces and build up to solving your overall problem. Sometimes you will be able to pour completely into AI and have it completely solve your problem top to bottom. But if that quality judgment isn't where you need it, you're going to have to continue to iterate. You're going to have to break things apart, put them back together in different ways to help help AI get to the answers that you're looking for or the solve that you're looking for your problem. Iterative refinement. This goes back to literally what I just talked about. Building on your AI outputs instead of starting over every single time. Too many people start from scratch every time they open up their Claude.ai or their ChatGPT. Okay, you've got to look at iteratively refining what's already there and building on top of it. Workflow integration, embedding AI into how you're already working, figuring out where that trust canopy is, where the high value is for you, where there's high trust in AI, and making sure that you're plugging it in to your existing workflows and building your trust canopy with AI. Also, frontier recognition, knowing that what AI can do right now really well and knowing what it can't do really right now. You're going to have to stay updated with the latest and greatest of what AI can do and what it can't to stay ahead of the curve. Now, if you notice what's missing from what I just talked about, prompting templates, hack lists, 50 ChatGPT tricks. It's not tricks, it's skills. AI fluency is about a management, is a, bleh. Let's try again. AI fluency is a management skill. It's not a tool skill. Why how matters more than what? There are really 5 reasons. There are generally 5 reasons why a process that you have is your competitive moat. Okay. Number 1, reproducibility. You can solve the next problem the same way. Can you? Well, a good process allows you to be able to solve problems you haven't seen yet. A lucky prompt doesn't do that. Scalability. Can you teach others your approach? If your AI success is trapped inside of your head, it will not and cannot compound for other people. You have to get these things out of your head. Quality. Process determines output quality, plain and simple. Okay, this is where a concept I like to talk about called sovereign systems comes into play. Systems that account for everything and don't have holes that bad output can slip through. Okay, or yeah, let's try that again. Quality. Processes determine output quality, just plain and simple. This goes into a concept I talk about, sovereign systems, systems that account for everything in their process. Okay? These systems, they don't also have been refined so they don't have holes where information leaks out, or even worse, bad information leaks in. Speed. A good, well thought through process equals faster iteration. Okay. The better your process, the more you've invested in your process, the faster you can iterate on other things. Now, not just faster first drafts, faster good drafts multiple times of whatever work that you're doing. When I say draft, just don't think about just work. Think about just anything that you are doing. Okay? Keep that in mind. That's a really important point right there. So, what does this look like in practice? An example, debugging. Okay? There are a lot of developers out there, and if you give two developers the same problem, the same bug, the same AI tools, you're potentially going to get two different outcomes. Let's say developer A, you say, hey, fix this bug. Dumps it into AI, thrashes around, wastes some time, maybe gets lucky, maybe it doesn't. Developer B, they say, here's what I'm seeing, okay? Here's what I want to see. Help me hypothesize what we should test to determine what the issue is. Then they have systemic dialogue, conversation back and forth in between AI to get to a clean solution. And a lot of times, the AI will learn things. It'll learn about you, how you operate, what systems you're using, what things you prefer to test before other things. The difference there wasn't intelligence, okay? Both developers, same level. The problem, or what it was, we took the problem and we decomposed it into its pieces, and then we continued to iterate to find that solution that we wanted. Another example, content creation. Okay. Here, you give it a generic prompt. Hey, write me a LinkedIn post about AI, and it'll sound like every other AI generated post out there. Okay. But if you have a thoughtful process, you say, define the audience, clarify what your goal is, explore multiple angles with AI, build a draft of the first one, and then have it refined to match your voice. You've been using the same AI, but it's wildly different outputs that you get. Okay. The person brought context assembly and quality judgment to the conversation, and AI matched that. AI was able to match what it was trying to do and the output that you get from that. Okay. One of the things for me that I constantly do when I'm working with people, people will come to me and say, hey, Daniel, I need to accomplish this thing. I need to take this Word document and turn it into a PDF. I'm not going to start by explaining to them, oh, hey, you need to go up to file and go export and that. I'm going to be like, why do you need it as a PDF? Why do you need it as a PDF? Simply taking a step back and finding out why they need something done gives me better context so that I can give them a better and more appropriate answer that solves their problem. Okay. It doesn't just fix what they're trying to do, because what may happen is what they're trying to do is the wrong thing for what they're for their goal that they're trying to accomplish. So I'll ask, hey, why do you need a PDF? Is, oh, I need to email it to the client. Oh, if you just need to email it to the client, then you know that you can just drop the Word document into an email. It's a terrible example, but work with me here. That is definitely something that happens all the time. And I wish it happened more with tech and IT people, because a lot of times they'll walk up to people and say, hey, what's your issue? Oh, they've solved that particular issue. They haven't taken a chance to ask the extra question to solve the actual why behind it. And if you do that, oftentimes you'll not just find a better way of solving the problem, you'll do it in a way that the end user hasn't thought of. Okay, maybe it's because different tools, you have different skills and things like that. But now we have two people thinking on the problem instead of one. And this goes into something else I'll make a video about called interdisciplinary thinking, which I truly believe marketers like myself are in the best position to move forward with AI because they are inherently interdisciplinary thinkers. They are responsible for knowing everyone else's language inside of the corporation. Nobody else inside of the corporation is expected to know their language. Think about it. As a marketer, I have to know what the finance team needs and like how they want it. The IT team, what they need, how they want it. Executives, how they need and what they want. Customer service, all of these other teams, I've got to know what their language is. None of those other teams are responsible or feel as if they're responsible for knowing what our language is. Something to keep an eye on. So let's take a second and talk about the how audit. Okay. Think about it. Take a recent problem that you solved with AI. Could you have explained the process to someone else step by step? Okay. Now, a lot of times when I say explain the process to somebody else, don't think about explaining it to your peer. Think about explaining it to an intern who like has a graduate degree, but that graduate degree just is the information. It's not the actual doing of it. Also, in your how audit, think how you could repeat it with a completely different problem. Okay, so now we're getting to methodology, and does this methodology apply to other problems? Can I use it across different modals? And if you don't have these types of things, if you don't have this kind of thought process, you don't really have a process. You've got a junk drawer, and a lot of times you just get lucky, and that's okay. Sometimes we need luck, but it's better to be consistent than rely on luck, right? At least it is for me. The uncomfortable truth, the widening gap. So, right now, the way I see it in this kind of thinking revolution framework, there are really 6 irreducible human domains right now. So, these are the skills that AI structurally cannot do. I'll caveat it and say right now, but these are the things that remain uniquely yours as the human. Okay. So, first thing, problem definition. Okay. Knowing what needs to be solved. Okay. AI can't feel what your pain points are. Okay. If you've got a pain point, you've got a problem, you need to solve it. AI is not just going to magically figure it out. Okay. Next, values weighted decisions. Choosing when the answer depends on who you are and your values, your goals, what you're trying to accomplish. Earlier today, case in point, excuse me, I was working on some strategy for my YouTube channel and I had 3 different agents. One of the agents is my YouTube optimization agent. One of the things I noticed was that of the 3 agents, it was treating all of the information from all of those agents equally. So what did I do? I was trying to optimize for my YouTube, but I wanted to consult my other agents. So I told it, I was like, hey, I notice you're valuing all the opinions equally. I want to have studio's opinion valued more because I'm trying to focus in on generating content for optimization. Okay. That's just one example. I'm sure there are a ton others. Creative provocation. Okay. Breaking frames to generate genuinely new ideas. Okay. So we as humans almost always look and can see systems and we do associations with them. Okay. That's how AI works. But if you're not directing it in that direction, sometimes AI is going to miss the mark. Most of the time, AI is going to miss the mark. Okay. That's a lot of times because we haven't given it enough context. So using our brains, we can kind of see, hey, there's an association here. We need to break it away and reframe things for AI to push it in a different direction. And a lot of times, those different directions will generate new ideas with that back and forth that you have with AI. Relational intelligence. Okay. AI is a machine. Machines are not good at reading other humans, just humans in general, but like, period. They don't read the room. They aren't necessarily focused in on building trust. They're focused in on accomplishing a task. Okay. They're not good at navigating the politics of human beings. They just aren't. So, that relational intelligence is something that you uniquely bring to the conversation with AI. Okay. Meaning making, answering why does this matter for yourself and for the other people in your life, in your family, in your organization. That core vision, mission, values that you have, that's your meaning. AI can't answer that for you. You can work with it and hone it in and figure it out, but you've got to be very vulnerable to do that. And it's not going to just magically create it for you. You've got to do the work there. You've got to represent that. And last but certainly not least, ethical navigation, making a judgment to do the right thing when there's no rule book. Okay. AI, it's just going to follow a set of rules. Okay. It's going to do a lot of association around those rules, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have judgment. That's still up to us to make sure we're being good stewards and making sure that we're using our best judgment. So, AI makes mediocre problem solvers more productive at the doing layer. Okay. But it makes great problem solvers and the people who really operate in these like 6 layers, these 6 domains, exponentially more valuable. Why? Because they remove that doing from your plate so that you can live in these 6 domains much, much more. And I'm going to tell you this, the gap is widening right now. It's not narrowing. Okay. Your processes, you offloading that doing and dissociating it from your identity, that's your moat. Your judgment, the more time that you are thinking, that's where your future job security is going to lie here in the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 10 years. Building your problem solving system. Okay. So, being ADHD, I am a very much a systems person and I think systematically. Okay. When I solve problems, I have practical steps that I follow to solve problems almost every single time. Typically, neurotypical people can have these, but often don't have them and don't have them repeatable. So, here are some practical steps that I've refined to help you build your own problem solving system. Okay. First things first, document your thinking patterns. When did you encounter something that you felt confident that this was a good solve? Okay. Write down how you went about doing that. Okay. Not the answer, the method, how you went about getting to that solution. Okay. This is the no layer from sovereign systems, which, again, I'm going to be making a lot of videos about this stuff, so stay tuned. Next, you want to create a reusable framework. Okay. These are not prompt templates. Okay. These are thinking templates. So, for instance, when I face this type of problem, I start by doing blank. Okay. This is the enforcement layer. Okay. It works the same way every single time that you encounter it for this type of problem. Okay. Number three, you want to be building feedback loops into your problem solving system. Did this approach work? Why or why not did it not? Okay. What could I have done differently? Okay. This is an evolution layer, or the evolve layer is what I like to call it. Okay. You help the system hone in and continue to be smarter. Okay. Now, the next thing is you have to calibrate your trust canopy. Okay. And this is more specific to AI, but can be specific to like other people you work with and teams you work inside of. So for each type of work that you're doing, you need to take a second and decide, where does AI get full autonomy? Where do you need to review things? Where am I somewhere in between? Like, where do you lie on the scale of trust? Everybody's layer of trust, especially with AI, is going to be completely different. I'll give you a great example for me. I give AI a lot of access to a lot of things. But if I haven't done an OAuth connection or direct connection, I refuse to give it access to my 1Password. Okay. So I will require it to have me log into certain things if it does not have that OAuth security, that direct API access. That's a gate for me. That may be different for you. You may not want it to log into anything or have any direct access. You may want to have it just log in, and you log it in every single time. Okay. Next, invest in the 6 human domains. As you continue to use AI, as you continue to move your doing off to AI, make sure that these skills you're working on and you're compounding on them. Not using any prompt tricks. This is your judgment. This is your problem definition, your values clarity, your creative provocation. Like, these are important for you to help shift your focus in, and your doing is the thinking in these domains. It's very important right now. I'll leave you with something very interesting that I came across. It's Sam Altman and Andre Karpathy, where they split almost in this methodology, in this idea of problem solving. You look at Sam Altman, okay? He has admitted, even here recently, that he still hasn't meaningfully changed how he's working. And he leads one of the biggest LLMs out there, period. Yet, Andre Karpathy, who I believe is like one of the co-founders of OpenAI, he's gone from 80% manual to 80% AI assisted within weeks. Okay. And he says that he feels 10 times more powerful than what he did before shifting that doing into AI. Okay. One of the key things a friend of mine has said is, once you make that shift, the key feeling about work is joy. And I myself find that as well. I enjoy doing more work, okay? Because it's fun. I'm more directing things, but I'm getting to use my thinking more and more, which is hugely important, as I've reiterated multiple times. Same tools, same access, completely different process designs. Okay. Adding AI to broken workflows is going to give you faster broken workflows, plain and simple. So the lesson you need to take from this is, what does your workflow look like? Is your workflow broken? If so, adding AI to your workflow isn't going to fix your workflow. Okay. Now, redesigning your workflow and using AI as part of that redesign to build leverage, that right there is a huge unlock. Okay. I want you to hear what I am saying here. Completely redesigning your workflow, thinking about it as a sovereign system. Where are my leaks? Where are things coming in? Where are things coming out? Having AI as a thought partner to help you fix that, and then having AI plug in to that workflow, that's where people are going to start winning. And they're going to start winning big, especially right now as we are on the precipice of this thinking revolution. So, the next time that you're solving a problem and you're using AI to do it, make sure you are paying attention to your process, not just the result. Ask yourself, could I teach someone else to do what I just did? If not, then you've got more work to do, and that's where that work is. So one of the things I would love to hear is, what are your current processes with working with AI? Do you even have one? Have you incorporated it into your business life, into your personal life? Or are you still just using it as a junk drawer, which is totally fine. We're all in different places in our AI journey. But I want to hear from you. Go ahead and drop it in the comments. I make sure to read all of them, and I'll probably end up having a long conversation because I love online engagement. Okay. And if you love the intersection of AI and psychology and what it's going to mean for us in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, that's what we're talking about in the school community that I've started. It's called Digitally Demented. We don't talk about prompting tricks and all of that buzzwordy type stuff. We're talking about the management skills that make AI actually useful, the psychological skills that we're going to need to make sure that we're investing in ourselves and the people around us to make sure that we can leverage them in, again, the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years. It's free to join. We'd love to have you join the conversation. Links in the description. And if you haven't seen one of my videos, like the one where I'm explaining my whole cognitive architecture, that basically is a story about my brain, not the business. The link is going to be somewhere around here. And worst comes worst, click back to the main part of the video or main part of the channel, and you can find it from there. But regardless, thank you so much for your time. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.